What is that? What the fuck is that? What is that? What is that?
Call 911 now!
What the fuck is that? What is that?
996. We have a report by CC, actually 2 calls in of a vehicle in the sky, unknown object above Sampson Drive. Have you noticed anything?
During the Obama administration, a petition asking for an acknowledgement of extraterrestrials engaging the human race was submitted to the White House, in which Phil Larson, a rep from the Office of Science and Technology, responds with a brief thanks, stating that the U.S. government has no evidence that life exists outside our planet, and that extraterrestrial presence has contacted or engaged any member of the human race. In addition, there's no credible information to suggest that any evidence is being hidden from the public eye. Wait, what? Whoa. Time out for a second here. So, who is this guy anyway? Phil Larson, from the Office of Science and Technology Policy? Oh, come on. The petition I signed didn't ask anything about policy. Everybody knows what the government's policy is on ET disclosure. I mean, come on. We wouldn't have had this petition in the first place if the policy wasn't like that. Letting some low-level staffer answer a White House petition by we the people wasn't exactly a satisfying moment for me. I don't know about you. But okay, let's entertain for a moment that Mr. Larson has the authority to answer this question. Being that the answer came directly from the Office of Science and Technology Policy would lead me to believe that it's been categorized already as science and technology, and that it's their policy not to say a damn word. So one can only assume the government has so much science and technology they had to create an entire office just to dictate policy over it. And really, let's face it, there's so much evidence out there that even if you were just to stick to military testimony, you would need weeks just to scratch the surface. To me, saying that there's no evidence is like admitting you're computer illiterate, never seen the internet, and don't watch the news. But being that the department's very name includes the words science and technology, I gotta think that they know something about the computers and internet. And let's not just stop with military personnel here, but we're talking about a boatload of civilians and even more importantly government officials, like Great Britain's Ministry of Defense UFO expert Nick Pope, who after retiring from the MOD has spent his remaining years spreading the word about the existence of extraterrestrials in and around
300
Earth.
UFO reports each year. 90 to 95% of those sightings turned out to have prosaic explanations. But we were left with the hard core of sightings, which defied any conventional explanation whatsoever.
Hundreds of people have come forth concerning the Phoenix Lights incident, including former Arizona Governor
I saw a huge craft just kind of come right over Squaw Peak. I don't know what I saw, but it was really something.
Also very interesting is former Canadian Minister of Defense Paul Hellyer.
On the subject of the extraterrestrial presence and technology, and also to make a plea for full disclosure, because the implications of what has been going on secretly in the last 50 or 60 years are really profound, and most people haven't any idea how important the revelations could be to their future as a species.
And one of my favorites, former Apollo astronaut Gordon Cooper.
They came flying over their heads, put down 3 little landing gear and landed right out on the dry lake bed. And they picked up their cameras and started over toward it, filming as they went. And when they got in fairly close to it, it lifted up, put the gear back in the wheel wells, tipped up, and took off at a great rate of speed.
Or let's ask any of a dozen witnesses from the Chicago O'Hare sighting in 2006, where FAA officials and airline pilots, as well as many other people, witnessed a low-hovering UFO for several minutes before it abruptly shot up into the sky, leaving a huge hole in the cloud. And then there's the quite extraordinary nuclear-armed Bentwaters NATO Alliance Air Force Base, involving over 60 military personnel over a 2-day extravaganza of close-up sightings, including physical contact with the craft and trace evidence left behind. Or I'm sure the guys at MUFON could lend a hand. Or how about NICAP? Or maybe the National UFO Reporting Center? Or UFO DB? The list goes on and on. I mean, the list of places they could check for evidence is pretty extensive. I also must add that these online databases are growing all the time, often in waves as different mass sightings occur. And when they do, some are just left in awe, and a great many of us are just intrigued by the entire prospect of contact with ETs. Some are highly disturbed by seeing something they can't identify in the skies. They will literally run and go call 911. I'm not sure what they expect them to do about it, but to all those out there terrified by something unique in the skies, I say, don't panic. Chillax. Go watch a few Ancient Aliens episodes or something, because they have literally been around since the beginning of recorded history. I mean, think about it. If they wanted to hurt us, how long do you think it would take a super advanced civilization to completely obliterate the human species? They wouldn't need laser beams or bullets or anything special, because space is literally full of rocks and debris which could easily be thrown at one of the Earth's polar regions, or anywhere for that matter. So don't go pissing them off, please. And by that, I mean, don't go grabbing a gun and shooting at a UFO, because nothing good can come of it. Which brings up another question. What the hell would prompt a fighter pilot to shoot at such an obviously advanced aircraft? I mean, what do they actually expect to happen after shooting one? Military intelligence. Two words that obviously don't belong together in the same sentence. It's like the old cliche, shoot first and ask questions later. What if Ambassador Joe E.T. decides it's time to come down and finally make peaceful public contact with the human race? Are you going to shoot at him? Interrogate him? How about waterboarding? That ought to get him talking. Hey, and when you're done, you can euthanize and dissect him while we're at it. My point is, there's no reason to be afraid of strange things flying around in the sky, because it's been happening for quite some time. It's happening today, it's going to happen tomorrow, and it's probably going to keep happening until the end of time. So don't be surprised when you're walking down the street one day or driving along a turnpike and suddenly see something you can't explain in the skies. That's becoming quite normal. Just because you haven't seen something before doesn't mean it's a direct threat or anything new. The facts are, millions of people have seen unexplainable things in the sky, as well as the ocean, including saucers, orbs, triangles, and cigar-shaped craft from small to megalithic and everywhere in between. Many people have even reported phantom cloud cities and even swirling light vortices. Anyone with eyes can look up into the sky and see for themselves how insignificant Earth is. Think of our solar system. Even the closest planets in our solar system appear as a tiny dot when looking up into the clearest of night skies. The absolute closest star to us is so far away, we would have to travel 4.5 years at the speed of light just to reach it. Yet the sky is full of stars, and some of those stars aren't stars at all, but entire galaxies. And as NASA found out with Hubble telescope, looking into the deepest, darkest spot in the night sky for 10 days, they got a nice, clear picture of more and more galaxies. There is no known end to this universe, folks. Now, with all that out there, wouldn't you think it's logical to assume that there are more advanced species in the cosmos than humans? Like thousands of years more advanced, possibly tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands? And not just one advanced species, there must be multitudes. Therefore, there must be a wide variety of craft traveling around out there.
They exercise strict control over us. I can't reveal anything. Oh. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
So let's explore, investigate, and share these sightings and encounters. Together, we can make an impact and let the world know we're not alone in the universe. So join in, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I'll do my very best to present to you what I consider some of the most interesting subject matter on the planet.